Angel, I know this is going to be a hard question for you to answer. What are your favorite action movies?
Die Hard, Terminator 2, The Rock, Face Off, Speed. Those are kind of like immediate ones off the top of my head. Predator's in there. That one's kind of like a multi genre there. But
Why are those in your top?
why are those in my? They're
Like
just
what makes them your favorite action movies? Like what aspects of them?
the stakes involved. I feel like a lot with like Die Hard and The Rock, like the main characters are sort of just like almost just like regular guys that you can relate to. They're not like superhuman Arnold Schwarzenegger types. They're just like your average guy trying to get by the day.
Your average what is it? Chemical engineer, I think is in The Rock, right? And British secret agent.
I think The Rock, like it's Nick Cage's point of view. He's the main protagonist, and like he's just a guy in a suit. He
He's a
doesn't
chemical
carry a gun.
engineer, and I believe my favorite line is something along the lines of "Carla was the prom queen," like
Yeah, but he
his
drives a
girlfriend.
beige. He drives a beige Volvo. He doesn't carry a
Oh,
sidearm. Like he's just like he's not like the action hero, right? So
yes.
like he's just he's smart. He knows the chemicals and all that, and how to disarm bombs and weapons. But like he's not that. He's put in that situation.
Also, classic action movie quotes. Oh, your last name is Goodspeed. Did you know that comes from Godspeed?
Yes, yes.
Love
There's some
that.
great lines in the movie. Yeah, and then just a lot of these movies don't rely on like the heavy amount of CGI and visual effects that just sort of like take you out of the reality of like the movie.
Sorry, Terminator 2 does not involve CGI.
I said a lot of these movies.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, but the visual effects in those movies are in Terminator 2 is amazing. And like what T1000 that that you can pick off the shelf and just put in a movie. You can. Is
No,
what I'm saying.
no.
Like that's a sci-fi movie you have that has to be created with CGI.
Yes.
But, you know, with Speed, that's not a CGI
No. Yeah,
bus.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, that's true. A Face Off, they actually took their faces off and switched them, which was like really impressive that the actors uh just were that method.
Yes, exactly. So I mean, I don't I think you're missing the point there. This is not like Skyscraper where The Rock is jumping out of a CGI. It's just all green screen. Like, not to say that there's no green screen in any of these movies, but there's not like this overt use of CGI and visual effects too. There are a lot of practical effects involved, and which makes the movie better, in my point of view.
Yeah, no, no. I don't disagree. Some of the ones on my list have a lot of practical effects, some a bit more CGI, but
What's on your list?
I got Nolan's Batman Begins. I think both the character development. I mean, I like you. I'm a Batman fan, but I think the character development in that, but then also great use of like fight training as a means to progress character. I think is really smart, and it's just grounded fight scenes. But also in there, I've got Serenity, which I guess is a mix of the practical and the CGI. They didn't have a huge probably budget for this, but love that one. Guardians of the Galaxy, Point Break, the original, Total Recall, the original, Edge of Tomorrow, Kill Bill Volume 2. So yeah, I guess a lot of those have some practical stuff. Recently, I've been watching The Equalizer with Denzel Washington, which is I think all practical effects mainly. So yeah, I think those are sort of my top ones at the moment. I don't know if The Equalizer is the top one, but I do like the idea of him timing certain things and sort of that their unique quirks are what make them like kind of badass at what they do. I mean, it's similar in that line of the Taken log line or whatever you want to call it, tagline. It's like, they've got a certain set of skills that I think each one is in there, and I think that is what makes it kind of cool. But also I think similar to you, like Edge of Tomorrow is sort of the everyday kind of person, even though it's Tom Cruise, he's playing sort of the civilian that makes it kind of cool to see like, oh man, put in that situation, like what would I do? I mean, we'd all die, but because we're not in a movie, but in the movie, we hope that we'd like kick ass like everybody else.
Edge of Tomorrow is awesome. Yeah, it sucks that that movie didn't do as well in theaters, but that's fun.
Yeah, I've rewatched it many times. It's highly enjoyable, and I think that also goes to sort of the heart of like what makes an action movie, because you can have like action comedies, action thriller, and then there's pure action movies. But I feel like as genres have blended together, there people have different definitions of what an action movie is to them. I mean, Red One, we're gonna bring up in every one of our episodes. Like it's kind of an action movie, but it's a Christmas action movie. But is that an action movie? What's the movie with Sinbad and Arnold Schwarzenegger? That's the Christmas movie.
Jingle All the
With
Way.
Jingle All the Way. Like, is that an action comedy? Is that what we call it? Because there's a lot of like battling each other kind of thing. There's a guy in a suit,
I think by
flying.
definition that's probably a family comedy.
Yeah, but I think but that's I guess because it has family in there, we don't call it action.
Yeah, you can't really pigeonhole a movie in one genre nowadays. It's just sort of it's a blend.
And speaking of movies that might not easily be pigeonholed, today on Trailer Teardowns, we are discussing a very interesting trailer, the trailer for Novocaine. So, as always, I'm Evan Bass Seisel with co host Angela Acevedo, and we're going to see what we think of this trailer. Angel, you want to take away the specifics?
What I'm curious to hear, like what, we'll obviously dive into it, but like what was interesting about the trailer, like an interesting trailer. So yeah, Novocaine, directed by two directors, Dan Berk and Robert Olsen. They are a directing duo who have done 4 other features and a short. Their features are Significant Other, Villains, The Stake Lander, and Body. I've never seen any of their movies. Have you?
No, I've like never even heard of them.
I remember seeing trailers for Significant Other. It was a Paramount Plus direct to streaming movie, and Villains. Villains. Looking it up last night. Came out in 2019, and I remember seeing that trailer. I was like, "Oh, that looks pretty fun." And I think I added it to my
Your watch
watch
list.
list. I did. So I was like, "Oh, I gotta check that out." That I thought looked fun. The other two were kind of like passes for me. One, Stakelander was like some post-apocalyptic vampire horror movie. Looked
Are
very
they
sort
all
of
are they
low
all
budget.
action?
No, it's a very that was good. A good question. They're all kind of different. Interestingly enough, Villains and Body similar but not. Their main characters both break into houses and then
Bad
stuff
things happen.
happens. Bad
Okay.
things happen. So it's like, oh, is that like their stick where they do that? But Villains definitely something I would check out. Significant Other kind of looked generic to me in a way. But Novocaine it stars Jack Quaid, Amber Mid Thunder. She was in Prey, the last
Also
Predator.
in Legion. I'm a big fan of TV show Legion. She was
Oh,
in
okay.
that too. She's great.
I never finished that.
Oh, so good. So good.
And Ray Nicholson. I'm just basing the top 3, just calling out the top 3 actors on that were listed on
Yeah.
IMDb. I've never heard of Ray Nicholson, but I have a feeling he's probably the main bad guy.
Hmm.
It's my guess. Amber Mid Thunder, if you've seen the trailer, she's the love interest. And the movie's coming out March 14th.
Cool. And this is definitely from the very start of this trailer a Jack Quaid vehicle. This is one of the first movies I've seen in a while that is literally the actor, and they're like, "Hey, I'm Jack Quaid, and this is the trailer for my next movie."
I've seen this. I've seen they've done this a couple times, usually in theaters. I feel like it's usually like a theater like trailer that they'll do this, where they'll have like the lead star or co-stars, like kind of like, "Hey, you're about to watch our new trailer for our movie. Check it out," or whatever. But I wonder if they're doing this. They'll do this more for like up and coming stars, just to get like audiences to like, "Hey, you've seen me before. I'm in this movie. Don't go to the bathroom or get popcorn. Watch this trailer. You know me. You like me from this, so
Yeah,
watch it."
yeah. Which I think definitely is a unique concept to what this movie is about, which we'll talk about. And I think the selling point is sort of, okay, it's Jack Quaid. This is sort of a quirky action comedy that you're going to see. And you're going to see Jack Quaid.
But Jack Quaid in this, my sort of like initial reactions of this is like, oh, he's playing Huey from The Boys. It's just kind of like
Mhm.
same vibe, same character.
Yeah,
To
yeah.
me,
Sort of the hapless person who is taking on uh, much larger than life or much larger than the capacity that they normally have because of love. I mean, actually, that's season one of The Boys, right? He's stepping it up because of a love interest, something bad happening, and stepping out of his comfort zone. Though I guess comfort is a relative term given the concept of this movie.
right? So yeah, that it just seems like, and that's fine. I think he's still kind of like getting into his own in terms of like the projects he's doing and all that. Like, I guess we should point out this is the second Jack Quaid movie that we are tearing down. The trailer we did Companion as our first episode, and like that there's not much in that teaser to see like what his character is, but like that one seems different, right? He seems
Hmm.
different, not
Hmm.
Huey or that playing that sort of like hapless character. But yeah, that was my initial sort of like thoughts there.
Also, a really interesting callback in our discussion on Companion. I brought up a very rare genetic disorder, congenital insensitivity to pain with anhidrosis, CIPA, which is sort of the foundation of this movie, right? Jack Quaid's character has the genetic disorder CIPA, which makes it that he cannot feel pain. Which, side note, it's not only that you can't feel pain, also you don't sweat, which I'm guessing they probably don't bring up in this movie, since the trailer was very much like, I have this special ability, I don't feel pain. I will play it for humor and comedic effect.
Double callback here. We get Jack Quaid, and then we get the SEPA callback, which is kind of funny, and like that's the log line of the movie. The a guy who can't feel any pain goes out to rescue his girlfriend or love interest.
Yeah.
And this story like this, I like these kind of action movies or these stories where it's just like a regular guy, they're put into a extraordinary situation and have to like kind of like fight their way literally to save the day or get the girl. Though with that SEPA thing, I'm just like wondering like how far are they gonna go with it? Because like yeah, you can't feel pain, you can't feel that stab it, you can't feel that gunshot, but like won't you bleed out? And obviously like there could be infections if you don't address these wounds.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's sort of they play up for comedy. There's one great moment in the trailer. I think we both, you know, laughed out loud at where he's getting tortured. I think there's like a arrow in his leg, and the guy's sort of jamming it in his leg, and Jack Quaid's character clearly is not in pain but faking it, and is like, "Oh, ooh, that's yep, that one hurts." And then he's like, "How about this?" And then she's, "Oh yeah, that one's the worst." And like, it's funny because of that, but at the same time, that was kind of my question too, is how real are they playing this versus they're playing it up for the comedy? Like, unfortunately, this genetic disorder is very dangerous to have because without having the sensory neurons, the ability to feel pain, you either have something that needs immediate treatment that you aren't addressing, as you said, bleeding out, or like you have a burn, and or one example, like you have a broken leg and you don't feel it, so you just keep walking on it so it can't heal. Like there's a lot of things that can go negative. Burns are a big thing, which they play up for humor in this trailer. But like if you get a burn, you might not pull your hand away from the thing that's burning you because you don't know you're burning. The like very, I don't know, morose kind of discussion point is a lot of times this is dangerous because there are things that we do that we don't even realize. So when we stand, we sort of shift back and forth very slightly between our legs based on the slight discomfort that our body feels from being on like one leg too much. And people with CPAP can't do that because they don't feel that. Or we like move when we're in the bed so that a part of the body doesn't fall asleep or it's not in one position. And people with CPAP can get essentially bed sores, which is something that happens to comatose patients because they don't move. And so that's why nurses move people who are in comas when they're in their comas and like bathe them and do different things that just like get the muscles moving because they can't feel it or move because they're in a coma. So I think that's the thing that sort of struck me is, okay, like how grounded are they going to make this versus, okay, he's just invulnerable and he'll just keep going.
This, I mean, we haven't seen the movie, so we don't know, but there are references like his sidekick friend played by Jacob Batalon. I don't know if I'm saying his last name right.
Professional sidekick to
Professional sidekick,
superheroes. Seen in Spider-Man.
Yeah, he calls out that, like, you know, you could still die. You're not Wolverine. So I'm curious to see how far they go with it. I wonder if there's gonna be a moment in the third act where he's like bleeding out or something. But there is a moment in the film where it looks like he takes a shot of adrenaline or something. I don't know what it is. I'm assuming it's an adrenaline shot. Then he just like needs a pick me up to get back into the fight.
Yeah.
But they're making this movie about this character with this genetic disorder. If you look at across the board of like a lot of action movies, you could argue that a lot of these characters in the heroes in these action movies have this disorder as well, where they're invincible, right?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. What you're trying to say is they get shot and they keep running, but clearly if they were shot in the leg, like that muscle wouldn't work anymore. They couldn't run, but they just like push through it.
Exactly. Like John Wick is like, if you've seen John Wick 4, like he is, I honestly don't know how he makes it halfway through that movie, like with everything that happens to him. He's fallen off buildings. He's tumbled down so many staircases and all of that. Like, it's interesting there because these movies do it already. A lot of these action movies.
Yeah. And maybe that's what this is calling out, is like the commentary on the fact that these action movies, somebody gets shot. I mean, I think of what is it? Bad Boys Forever. What was the second to last one? The one where Will Smith's character gets shot and he's like in a coma, and then he comes out of the coma and he's like, okay, I'm gonna come back. And then like a month later, he's got no issues and he's like back being a cop and sprinting and everything.
Exactly.
And it's like, that's not how it works. You probably have like a year or two of rehab and hopefully you walk again.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's just what we get with these kind of movies, right? The suspension of disbelief. And
yeah. And I mean, I think they play it up for comedy. And one thing I did like about this is you get to see different moments where this is coming into play. Like there's not just a couple action moments that utilize this. You get to see him in different scenarios, different fight sequences, be it in a kitchen or in a home where there's like a medieval whatever, not a mace, but something that's just like, hits him, and clearly there's an arrow and then there's a knife. I mean, there's
it's like they're pulling out all the kind of weapons. It's like, oh, well, we can't just do guns. Let's bring in, I think that was a mace, right? Or whatever it was.
Yeah, well, Sling from the Sea, like a mace technically is like on the end of kind of like a nunchuck.
True.
This like but it's some sort of medieval weapon.
Yeah, but also who has that in their
house,
San Diego apartment? Like, I don't know.
John Wick does. John Wick has it. To me, though, and this is interesting with this trailer, is the positives of it also are potentially the negative for me, in that you have all these action things and they play off of the disorder and for the comedy and how much of a badass he is. But at the same time, at some level, it felt like one of those movies that was an SNL sketch and they turned it into a movie. And I'm not talking about Wayne's World, which was great, but like one of the other ones where it works as a sketch because you have a finite amount of time where it's funny and you can play it up. But then if it's all one note, it's all the same. Like if it's just him being like, I don't feel things, and so this happens and I don't feel it, and this happens and I don't feel it, and this happens, like it's not going to be the most multidimensional, which means like, is it going to be fun to watch all the way through?
No, that's a good point. Like it's like, where are the stakes if he doesn't feel the pain? And it's like, oh, okay, he's just going to get through it and then finds a way to defeat the bad guy and makes it through to the next sequence of events to get closer to rescuing his girl.
Yeah.
But that's why I feel like toward the third act, he's just going to be probably like bleeding out, and it's like, or something like,
yeah,
it's like there. I wonder if there'll even be like a reference, like from the bad guy's point of view, like, who is this guy, Jason Voorhees? He doesn't like fall down or die. I don't know. But
well, it makes me think of Daniel Radcliffe's kind of unique foray into action movies with Guns Akimbo, where again, a normal, well, sort of normal guy, like an internet troll, and then he gets this thing sort of happen to him and he's fighting. And I feel like the third act of that is like, he's not doing well. But again, but that one I saw and I did get a little tired because it was all the same thing too. It was just like, I'm saving this girl that we've not really invested in. And it's just shoot stuff.
Yeah.
What else sort of stuck out to you? I mean, I think the humor of it is kind of fun, but is very much, I felt like they jumped right into it with this trailer. It's like, oh, I found the girl, and then boom, kidnapped.
Yeah, it seems like it's just like a simple story. I mean, you don't even like get an idea of like who the main bad guy is. That character's not featured, and I'm assuming it's played by Ray Nicholson, and I imagine he's gonna have the girl at the end, and Jack Quaid's character has to defeat him some way. But it just seems like a simple story where it's like, oh, these guys bank robbed a bank, took the girl for hostage.
They bank rob a bank. That's what they do.
They bank rob a bank. Yeah, they robbed a bank, and they took the girl, and he's gonna go after her. I don't know. It doesn't seem like there's much more to it, which is fine. I think like a simple, like it doesn't need sort of like conspiracies and all these other layers to it. It's just like, hey, this guy just wants to rescue the girl, and he can't feel pain, and he's gonna use that to hopefully save the day.
I thought it was interesting. It's very much comedic pacing though. With the edit, like it's quick, it's jumping to the moments, it has funny stuff. Like when you see it's a setup and then a punchline almost with the frying pan. You know he can't feel things. He sees the frying pan. It's on the fire. That's the quick setup. He grabs it. He doesn't feel the pain. He goes to hit the bad guy. The bad guy grabs it. Oh, we know the bad guy's in pain. He even does like a meta commentary thing. Oh, that's some first-degree burns. You should get some ointment on that, or whatever he says. Like funny joke, and then he gets kicked, and the action continues. That sort of stood out to me is, even though it's an action movie, it's cut very much like a comedy trailer.
For sure, it's definitely this definitely classifies as an action comedy, and like, yeah, even the last beat of the trailer, it slows down to have that extended moment of the torture scene where he's like, oh, that hurts the most. Then it's the end tag sting of like the title card and all that. Going back to the frying pan, or which is, I think it was a cast iron pan. And
yes,
funnily, last night I cooked a bacon wrapped filet mignon on my cast iron.
Hopefully it's well seasoned.
Yes, and I learned a lot about cast iron because like
it's one of my favorite cooking items.
Did you have one?
Oh yeah, and I've
Nice.
actually seasoned it twice myself.
Yeah, so like I cook these filet mignons from Omaha Steaks, courtey of my in-laws. Shout out to them if they listen. I got them for
product
Christmas.
placement for Omaha Steaks.
Well, yeah, they're pretty good. So like, I'll use my cast iron, and yeah, it cooks great. So, but they're freaking heavy, and
they're
hold
heavy,
a lot of
and
heat.
they uniformly hold the heat really well, which is one of their strongest points.
Yeah. And so when he like grabbed that, and like I was like, that thing is heavy, and like I don't know, he seems like not that strong of a guy. Yeah, so I was like, he's got to put some real force behind it.
My initial thought was, why is that cast iron skillet handle not covered? Because that's the safest way. But I do that for mine. I have a little.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I have like a silicone handle thing.
Oh, I gotta get that. I use like an oven mitt.
Yeah.
When I'm like basting my steak, it's like I gotta lift the handle, and so that thing's hot.
Come back tomorrow for our basting and how to cook a steak in a cast iron skillet podcast episode.
Oh yeah, totally. It's like one of my favorite ways now to like, because I haven't been using my grill.
Do you put butter in it first? You got to brown the butter. Brown the butter first, and then you spoon the butter on top of it while it's cooking, and that gives it an even smoother cook.
I sear both sides, sear the edges, and then I drop the heat and put the butter and like some seasoning.
We'll talk about this.
Then,
butter first. Oh,
I gotta try that.
Anyway.
I do need to try and cook other things in there, like eggs.
Yes.
I wanted to talk about the cast iron because I was like, I saw a cast iron.
Wait, but you also, I think you also want to talk about the gun in the frying oil.
Yeah. Another thing that stuck out, I was like, okay, that's, I've worked in fast food when I was in high school, and like hot grease is hot, really hot. And that shot of his, like close up of his hand holding the gun was pretty gross and gnarly, but wouldn't his hand be just melting?
See, here's where I
Like
differ on you. I think it would turn into tempura,
tempura.
wouldn't
I don't
it?
know.
Wouldn't
I
it? Or
think,
like fried chicken? Wouldn't it turn into
but
like,
it,
like? I
well,
mean, I
no,
know that's
he
breaded normally,
breaded.
but I feel like when you deep fry a turkey, don't you sear the outside? It doesn't melt the outside of a turkey if you're like deep frying Thanksgiving turkey.
I guess. I
You
mean,
just
I
it gets
guess
crispy.
chicken.
It gets crispy.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I just feel like it would melt. But yeah, you're probably right. Like that, it's not like melting off.
I mean, it still would be horribly like it would lead to infection really soon. His skin would probably peel off. Like it's probably super disgusting.
Oh yeah, and it's disgusting. In that close up, and then later on in the trailer, you see that he has it wrapped up. So he's obviously doing something with it. But
Prevent infection. A lot of
yeah, exactly.
bacitracin.
Another moment that I liked in the trailer was like when he. It seems like it's gonna be a big moment, and it's like sometimes you can sort of tell like these like big moments that are gonna be part of the movie, and it's
Mhm.
like hoorah moment. It was like when he's like punching the shard glass,
Oh,
broken glass
oh, yeah,
on the
yeah.
ground, and then he like just basically is about to like wallop that big guy. That seems like it's gonna be kind of fun there.
What's that Jean-Claude Van Damme movie? Kickboxer? Doesn't in Kickboxer, don't they like they roll up their fists and they roll their fists in like broken up glass? It reminiscent of my Jean-Claude Van Damme obsessive days of yore.
That one and Bloodsport I kind of mix up.
They're both amazing movies. Bloodsport.
Oh yeah, oh
The
yeah, I know.
But yes, I believe Kickboxer had the glass on the fists that were taped up for
Hmm.
like the battles. But yeah, that would seem like an epic moment for sure.
There were a lot of references to comic books. I don't know if you caught that.
I don't know. I don't know what references did you see. I may have missed
I
them.
mean, some of them are sort of like meta references. Like, again, his sidekick, he's Ned from the Spider-Man
Yeah, yeah.
movies. He calls out Wolverine. You're not Wolverine.
Which I really like because most like non X-Men nerds think Wolverine's special ability is his claws, and he only has the adamantium. Wow, I can't even say that word.
Adamantium.
Thank you. Um, bones and claws because of his actual superpower, which is incredible healing. Which I guess they touch on in the movies where he gets in one of them he gets shot in the head and it like pushes it out and he doesn't age. But like yeah, I thought it was a nice nod there. What else you got?
I thought the title cards too, just like the visuals of the
Mm.
title cards, had a very kind of like comic book flair to them. Just the lettering, and the colors. After seeing this, I was like, oh, I wonder if this is based on a. Thought it was might have been based on like a graphic novel, one of these like indie graphic
Mm,
novels
mm.
or comic miniseries, but it doesn't seem to be. It's an original script.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense. It's his very unique way of approaching it, being a genetic disorder and the the things that can be associated with it.
Yeah.
But then again, you have like Samuel L. Jackson as Glass in that series, and his special ability is he's really fragile and can break his bones easily.
Now is that his special ability, or I thought it was like his intelligence?
Well, no, but he is intelligent, but he's intelligent because he has this genetic disorder that makes him really fragile. And he was like, there must be somebody who is the opposite of me, who is
Hmm.
not fragile, which is, Bruce Willis's character. But then that just forced him to educate himself and like be evil. Evilly dastardly, like an evil genius. But I don't
Yeah.
think that his thing was, yeah, he's just super fragile. At least that's how he explains it at the end of the first movie.
Unbreakable.
Yeah.
I also thought the poster was fun and different, not kind of like a cliched, like here's floating heads on a poster and da 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 da. It's kind of stylized. I thought that was fun.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. And I mean, it's kind of a fun way to go. I mean, that's his thing. Even the girlfriend at the beginning, Amber Midhunter, they're in the cafe or diner, and he's like, well, I've got this issue, and she's like, you have a superpower, like that's your special ability. So
hmm
I think that's also like a really nice way to connect them, is that he sees the thing that he has as a weakness, she sees it as a special ability, she sees the better side of him, probably why he likes her, but also a great way to think about things in life. I think of, oftentimes we have a negative, you know, related to self-esteem issue with ourselves, that we go, oh, this is this is something that's bad or negative about me, and it's not. It's just the way we see it, and that you just can flip it, and perspective can change how it is, or how it's viewed, or how you interact with it, I guess.
Any other last thoughts on the trailer?
No, no, no. What are your thoughts on seeing it? Do you want to guess, or do you want to just dive in? I feel like we should
Yeah,
just.
we'll dive in. For me, I'd see this in theaters, but I'm not rushing to theaters.
Okay.
If I catch it, great. If not, I'll definitely watch it on streaming, but I'll aim for theaters.
For me, this is a stream it. I don't think it's as big actiony for me to need to go see it in the theaters. That said, I love watching action movies when I work out, and I would definitely save this. And it would be like one of the top ones to watch when I'm working out. Like if I'm have to do the stationary bike, I feel like this will get me forgetting that I'm on the stationary bike, and I'll be amping up my the speed that I'm on it because I forget. Like that's how I roll. It's just I get like the more actiony the scene, like I just forget what's going on and I just dive in. So yeah, so I definitely stream it, but I'd save it to my watch list for sure. And also just the cast I think is fun.
On your When you're watching a movie during your workouts, are you like just doing 90 minutes on the bike, or do
No,
you
no,
do
no.
like
So
a whole thing?
I do it in segments.
Okay,
So I do like I'll watch it in like 15 to 20-minute bursts. So over the course of a week.
got it.
So the question we want to leave the audience with for this episode is a simple one, but also a hard one to come to a conclusion on. What is your favorite action movie? Not movies, your singular. If you had to choose just one, what would it be? And my only bit of advice on this one that I got from a director years ago when I was talking about favorite movies, and he said, to me, a favorite movie is one that if you were stuck with and you could watch over and over and over again, you would enjoy it each time.
Yeah, I think like the go-to question is like, what movie would you take to a deserted island, or like yeah, like you said, like you're watching it over and over.
And you had electricity on that deserted island and a TV screen or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, you know the usual poll. Are you seeing this opening night, streaming it, nothing else on, or a hard pass? And we will see you next time.
So yeah.